So you probably have a few questions right now. Why am I here on my imperfect bed with no sheets, no doona, no bed cover, no covers for my pillows, ugly ass curtains that I got when I first moved into this room that looks like it's from the frickin' 60s, with my imperfect hair, with my imperfect facial hair, with my imperfect pajamas. Why? Where's all the cinematic stuff? Where's all the nice shots? Where's all the nice color? Where's all the nice anything filmmaking related? Well, it's been a tricky period to say the least. I'm here right now talking to the camera, not knowing at all what I want to say, or, you know, is this gonna go anywhere? I don't know. Look, I'm just gonna try to say this simply. I told myself today that I would pull out the camera, I would put it on its tripod, I would set up, you know, these two lights, then one here, and then just film. And not do any more takes, just do one take and just let myself speak. For those of you who don't know me, I am a bit of an anxious person, naturally. I've always struggled talking in front of a camera. Some people think that's crazy, but I'm not confident at all. And so this makes me really nervous, and I'm really nervous because I've told myself, like, whatever I film and record the first try, that's exactly what I'm gonna put out. So you're getting the raw, authentic Luke here, which, you know, is really terrifying and scary. But I think what this means is that you're gonna get a really authentic version of myself coming out with some of the stuff I'm about to talk about. So I guess one of the first things is that I have been in a bit of a slump recently. Mental health wise, things have just been really challenging for me. I've always been somebody who's been very, I guess, on top of his mental health. Whenever I feel like I would get dragged in the mud somewhere, I was always really good at pulling myself out. Fortunately, I know it can be really hard for people. You know, I always would exercise and create like a really good eating plan and really just try and get on top of things, and that has always worked for me. But recently I've kind of found myself in a slump, especially during lockdown here in Canberra, and just with all the self-isolation and stuff, I've been really struggling to kind of stay on top of my mental health. I've always been a very big extrovert, as a lot of you already know, but in recent years I've actually slowly kind of drifted into a bit more of an introvert. I get a lot more anxious now talking to people socially. I get really frightened about what others think of me. A lot of you probably already know that. I'm a fairly insecure dude, but I think a lot of guys are, and a lot of them hide it. But you know, I think, where am I going with this? There was a reason I brought this up. You just gotta bear with me. Again, this is just the authentic me coming out, you know, just imperfect everything happening here. No fancy lights, no anything. We're just here right now. So let's just focus. And that's another thing about me, actually. When I'm anxious and when I'm under pressure, my mind goes to mud and I just forget things, and then, you know, I freak out. And that happens in conversations a lot with people. Like, I'll have a really deep conversation with someone, and then, you know, they tell me something super important and I'll freak out and not know how to respond, and just kind of panic and then forget everything that was just spoken about. And yeah, anyway, oh my god, I'm going on such a tangent right now. Can you tell I'm nervous? Can you tell I'm nervous? Oh my goodness. Finally, to the point. The reason I'm here, my mental health, that's what we were talking about. Yeah, so I've been in a little bit of a slump, and I think one thing that I've always been hesitant to do, I can't believe I'm talking about this right now, is getting a diagnosis for something. I grew up with ADHD and autism. I've always struggled in school. I was always a very naughty kid, misbehaved kid, but, you know, I meant well. I struggled with bullying throughout primary school and a bit of high school, which was hard, but, you know, groundwork, like, I was always really good and very extroverted, very outgoing, but obviously recently, you know, I've been feeling really anxious. And, you know, growing up, like, I did have anxious moments. I think especially when I would go out shopping, I would always get, you know, really anxious and struggle breathing. And I think socially as well, there was always a bit of, oh, what does that person think of me? But it was never really that much of a problem since the bushfires, I think, the end of 2019. Actually, it would have been around mid 2019. I think is when my anxiety really kind of shot off, I guess. It's kind of progressively got worse. I think just the state of Australia, especially during the bushfires and then COVID and just how it's affected the whole world. I'm in this place now where I'm really actually struggling to control my thoughts when it comes to the people around me and the things that are happening in my life. Especially, you know, I think a lot of people my age, 21-year-olds and, you know, around the age bracket can understand how stressful this part of your life can be, because you're moving from one stage to another. I'm in my fourth and final year at university, which is stressful in itself because now you're going on to the next phase, which is your career. But I think the tricky thing with me is, like, you know, I'm not somebody who really wants to settle into your normal 9-to-5 job, and that saying that out loud, even to you guys, is terrifying because so many people are just like, what the hell do you mean? Like, you literally studied at university for 4 years, like, what do you mean? Anyway, I'm going on a crazy tangent right now. I think one thing I was going to talk about is the fact that clearly there's something been going on recently inside of me, you know, really lots of anxiety, except I obviously had never been diagnosed for it, and I've been putting off being diagnosed for it for so long. And, you know, recently a close friend of mine really encouraged me to, you know, take the plunge and actually, like, see what's going on, and then take steps to improve it. And I've always been hesitant to do that because, you know, I've always actually been quite good at getting myself out of, you know, depressive thoughts or anxious thoughts, but I decided after a lot of stress that, you know, I would do it. And, you know, I recently saw the doctor. I got diagnosed with mild depression and moderate anxiety, which, you know, at first was a really hard thing to hear and listen to because obviously I grew up as somebody who didn't associate with that, but also had a lot of people around him who, speaking about me in the third person for some reason, a lot of people around me who suffered from that stuff. So I, you know, felt firsthand, like, you know, how it impacted them, people in my family, and, you know, it's a really hard thing, and I'm really fortunate that, you know, I'm really, like, I'm okay at being able to get it under control and whatnot, but still it was just really important for me to try and, you know, get a diagnosis. And I think, you know, with all this mental health stuff that's been going on, it's actually been really affecting, I guess, a lot of my goal setting and a lot of my motivation to really try and put myself out there and achieve the things that I want to achieve. I really want to make content creation online work for me. I think long term, I really, just for so long, have been meaning to really dedicate myself to YouTube, but it would always be on, and you guys probably know this, it's been on and off and on and off constantly, and that's because I just really struggling to figure out the kind of content I want to create. And mind you, I have been in such a big slump recently because I keep trying to figure out what I want to create next. What's the next thing I want to create? And you know, since getting my new camera and all this equipment, you know, I've been doing lots of client work. I have literally, I don't think you understand, I have so much footage. I have so much footage of different things. Like I've gone out with friends and filmed some really nice cinematic videos, like around Canberra. I've gone on like trips with really close friends of mine where I've filmed stuff. I've done stuff with my drone. I've taken it to, like, you know, Seacliff Bridge near Wollongong. I've taken it to waterfalls. I've taken it to different water areas, and you know, I've just gotten all this really nice footage that, you know, I was going to turn into a YouTube video, but I just never did, and I never have done. And I think that's because deep down inside, while I love the whole like cinematic stuff, I want to create content that has a little bit more meaning. You know, throughout the past couple of years, I've done a lot of short films, and those are really cool because you're able to kind of experiment certain themes and kind of express certain, I guess, values and morals and stuff through them. But, you know, the thing is, like, short films are such a long turnaround. Like, it takes time to make short films, and I'll never stop doing them. You know, I think I'll always have a place, you know, in my time for making short films. But I think, especially for online content creation, I want to try and create content that's kind of can have like a week turnover. Like, I can post weekly, but still provides meaning, but also has, you know, nice looking footage and stuff. But I think that whole mentality that I had, that, you know, everything that I need to put out has to be better than the last thing, or it needs to be perfect, has really honestly screwed with my head a bit, and it's kind of taken away a big part of me, and that's actually creating stuff. I think, you know, in my life, I always know when there's something missing. You know, if I'm working a lot, making good money, if I'm eating well, and you know, I'm doing meditation and whatnot, but if I'm not exercising, then my brain knows that that's something I should be doing, and that actually can get me in a slump. Recently, especially in the past 3-4 months or so, that void has been online content creation. I've been meaning to create YouTube videos for so long, and I had so much footage that I recorded, so much stuff that I've just thrown away. Or I haven't thrown away, it's in a hard drive, but just haven't done anything with. And it's just because I don't have that fire to make something, but it's because I think the process of editing it is really just kind of draining me out, and it's kind of stopping me from wanting to create it. I think I love creating content, but I've always struggled with editing, which is why I've been considering, you know, getting an editor to help me, but that's a whole nother thing. Anyway, basically, bottom line is that I was getting way too in my head about the quality of the content, you know, as somebody who's a perfectionist, an anxious perfectionist, and just wants to create the best thing all the time, you know, the idea of trying to create something perfect was stopping me from creating at all, and I guess that's why I'm here, creating something that's imperfect. You know, on a bed with no sheets. I'm washing them, by the way, I don't sleep like this, I'm not crazy. In a room that's mostly empty. Mind you, this is literally what my room is like. You can't see this side, but there's no decoration. It's a very practical space, and I've always wanted to turn this into something, you know, that inspires me, but you know, I don't know if I'm gonna be moving out soon, so it's kind of the space is just a practical space at the moment. But I guess I just wanted to really motivate myself and just really tell myself that, you know what, just put your camera on the tripod and just say what comes to your head and then upload it. And so that's what I'm doing. But I guess, you know, in talking about all this stuff, you know, and I've gone on lots of tangents, and I really apologize for that, because I know it can be frustrating. It's like, just get to the point. But I guess the point of this whole video is just to say, you know, sometimes things aren't going to be perfect. They're not. And, you know, I don't want this to be seen as a really sappy thing, but like, they're just not. And I've always expected so much perfection from myself, so much perfection to improve. And you know, I think the one thing we realize is we get so caught up in perfection and improvement in one area that the one time something doesn't improve in that area, we think our whole life is going backwards, but that's not the case. And I realized that because in the process of not creating content and missing that void, I've actually improved so many areas of my life. Exercising, I've improved my relationships, I've improved, you know, my relationship with my family, I've improved who I am as a person. I'm slowly starting to be someone I can be proud of, which is something that I've never truly felt before, and something that I've always been insecure about, but I feel like I'm getting there, and that's just such an exciting thing. And you know, I'm doing meditation to control my anxiety. I am actually doing things to get my life in a place that I can be proud and happy of. And you know, while I haven't been creating content and as consistently as I would like, my life is still heading in a good direction. And I just think it's so important to kind of, you know, just realize that, you know, just because one thing might feel off, it doesn't mean the rest of your life is. And I guess that's the takeaway from all of this, for me at least. This doesn't have to resonate with anyone, but I think the reason why I've been struggling so much to come to that realization is because I know where I want to be with this content creation. I know I want to be somebody who's posting videos and who has an audience and who's able to touch an audience and be able to do that as a career. I'm honestly gotten past the point where I'm afraid to say that. That's what I want to do as a career. And I think just the fact that I haven't been posting content, I haven't been creating, has stripped that away. It's made me feel like I'm not getting to where my dreams are, but you know what? I'm getting so close to the person I want to be that I know that that will come, and I know who I am as an individual, and I know that I am driven enough to get myself there, and it is gonna happen. And I'm speaking it into the universe right now. You're probably seeing me, just a guy, and if you haven't seen my channel yet, you're probably just seeing a guy, if you're still watching, on a bed with nothing, really boring background, really boring everything, and he's telling you that he's gonna become, you know, something and make a worthwhile career out of YouTube. You're gonna laugh at him, but I'm telling you now, it's gonna happen. and I'm just so excited to show you guys that. This video is kind of gone in all different directions, but I guess I just wanted to leave it on the note that, you know, I think if you're in a similar slump, if you're feeling like, you know, you just one area of your life is really lacking, and that, you know, you just feel like your whole life is going back, just remember that that's not the case, you know. Really kind of try to hone in on this wonderful things that you've accomplished, even if it's something so small, you know. Just think of the person you were 3-5 years ago and where you are now, and just be proud of yourself. Anyway, this is kind of gone a bit crazy, but anyway, I just wanted to make sure that I made something today, whether it be crap or good, doesn't matter. I'm here, it's been done. Thank you everyone for watching this video. Slowly now, you know, my plan is actually for next year to go on my YouTube hiatus, where I just dedicate myself to creating content. I'm actually going full-time freelancing as well next year, which is a scary step for me because, you know, there's so much risk involved in freelancing full-time, but I'm really dedicated to make it work, as well as YouTube. So, you know, you're going to be seeing lots of content from me next year. This year, there's going to be a few videos for sure, but not as consistent as next year. But just be patient, it's going to happen. And yeah, it's gonna be so good, and I'm so excited to share with you guys some of the things that, you know, I've been thinking and been working on. And yeah, anyway, thank you for watching. I love you all so much, and I'll see you later. Ha!